Yeah.
Bro, Marcus, my brother, you should operate more in grace.
And that's the part, bro. Like, how is somebody with this background, you're now the person that needs to tell anybody else what they're supposed to do with
What thus saith the Lord?
How do you have all of this background? And I noticed even in that 30-year post that he made, he talks about himself a lot. The devil has been after me. I've been on the God's been trying to use me, but the devil just keeps on trying to block me, trying to keep me down, trying to stop me. It's like it's giving borderline. You mentioned cult, like it's given a lot of narcissism. Like, you only think about yourself. You have zero level of empathy for any other human being that you're around.
Marcus has a really convoluted marriage history. We will start at the date of his second marriage, which was to Laverne Neely in September of 2013. At that time, he had recently been divorced, and he admits that his relationship with Laverne started while he was still married to his first wife. So this screenshot was taken from his Facebook. It was posted a month after his wedding, and I think it's important because in here he goes on and on about he loves his wife, and very much about how their foundation is God and nothing is going to destroy that, and on and on. And this is going to become important down the line because he'll talk later about how his relationship was not founded on God and therefore was not valid. So just keep that in mind later on. Okay, to set a little more context here, I'll just take you to about a year later. He's deployed in Korea, and this would be like his big first video that supposedly went super duper viral, whatnot, and got him on the map on Facebook. So we're going to get back to the screenshot later, but I just want to highlight this part right here because I think it's very important. Here he says he was single in Korea. He mentioned something about legal issues, blah, blah, blah. But as you'll see, what does that mean to be single? I don't know. So he was single, kind of, but at the same time, he posts pictures.
Come here, Marcus. You are being called into the principal's office. You doing big talk, my boy. Big talk. I'm righteous. No, there is none righteous but God. Stop. Get off your pedestal. Be humble. Sit down. And learn to have grace for people. Because on this episode, we are going to go through your history. For those who don't know, they will know. My brother. This is the thing. When you do big talk with no substance, you will often have to walk it back with your tail between your legs or blaming somebody else. And too many times, man, too many times you've done this. So now what we just watched was a breakdown of your Facebook posts, your marriage license, you admitting that you broke your marital vows.
My God.
During your first marriage. Right? And then you got married again. And then you went to Korea and said, well, before that, you like, ain't nothing stopping us. Everything is built on God.
Hello, everyone.
Now, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Sorry. I ain't even welcome to people, man. I'm sorry.
Welcome to another episode of Level Up with Larry and Leo, where we turn trials and opportunities, dreams into reality. My name is Larry, and this is Fired Up Leo, and he got some bombs he's trying to drop.
Bro, this dude said because of legalities, I'm no longer married. I'm in Korea. My marriage license only goes 3 time zones. I don't know what his legalities were, but my brother, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you say that? And do such big talk for no reason. Big talk for zero reason. And then nobody. then you get with another chick while you're still legally married. Again. So
who is she? Yeah. Who is the one that's on the screen now?
Oh, let's play the video. Another chick. He having another chick.
Another one.
He wants his sides. Laverne ain't enough. He wants Shirley too.
Another one.
For those who know the old show Laverne and Shirley, I used to watch that all the time. But okay, I digress.
DJ Khaled. Another one.
Of a girl he was dating, I guess long distance. So I don't know, that's as single as it gets. He listed his status on Facebook at that time as single. So that was November of 2015. Fast forward now to 3 months later in February 2016. Here he is saying he's going to reconcile with his wife. He makes it very clear here that God told him to do this. Remember that.
Stop. Stuff on God. Stop putting stuff on God. Stop.
He's been posting everything since 2013. Why do you feel
like... Stop blaming God. Stop, bro. Stop. God gave you free will. God gave you intellect. God gave you discernment. God gave you a lot of things so you wouldn't have to hear from him every single step of the way. God didn't tell you that, oh, you're no longer married. God didn't tell you to go have a side chick. God, you know what I mean? Like now God is telling me to go back with my first wife. Really? Come on, bro. Come on. Stop blaming it on God. Just say, hey, I feel a certain way that, I'm going to try to, mend my marriage again. But don't put it on God. Stop blaming God, Marcus.
Obviously, there's a pattern. The first pattern is Marcus feels like every piece of his personal business belongs online. That's his first problem. Bruh, somebody should have told you that you don't have to put everything that's going on in your life on social media for people to be able to go back and find and use against you. That's number one. Number two, you've been talking on God for a while. Everything is God said. Bro, in the Bible, again, I'm gonna get in my preacher bag. I've been getting my preacher bag. I've been getting back in it. The Apostle Paul told the Corinthians, this is not God who's talking. It's me. I'm not God. And he understood the difference. And you gonna tell me you're more anointed. You are more, you have more of a call of God than the Apostle Paul. Really?
Get more revelations than Paul.
And I'm just so I'm baffled by the idea that so many preachers, not just Marcus Rogers, this is like an epidemic of preachers who feel like they need to, if they put a caveat next to God said, somehow it lessens their effect or anointing or the impact of what they're saying. When they don't realize that the more you speak on God and it's wrong and it's not God, the more people are going to tune you out because they know that you're just a crash dummy. Like, bro, you are the definition of a spiritual crash dummy that just goes with the flow. And you think we don't see that you got your own motives with all of this stuff. You have your own motive. It's just like the thing with guys like him. It's like they need attention. That's one thing with him. He needs a lot of attention.
Oh yeah.
And that's a sign of a troubled past, which he's talked about. He has a troubled past. And I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at the fact that bro been through a lot. I think he was adopted when he was really young. Like he's been through a lot. And he preached one time on YouTube, went viral, and was like, oh, I get acceptance from this. I get money from this. I get recognition. People like me when I do this. So like in that realm, or in that line of thinking, I'm not mad at him for that. I'm not mad at you for realizing that you can get a level of affirmation that you probably needed because you didn't get it as a child. That I'm not mad about. But what I am mad about is, bro, Paul also said, I was once a child, but eventually I put away childish things. And it seems like there has not been much development, because I guess it is hard to develop when you're in the public's eye all the time. And that's probably why you need to get away from social media. You need to go on timeout. You're on timeout from social media. You're on timeout from, somebody else needs to come pastor your church. You don't need to be pastoring your church. And you're on timeout from saying God said. Like, you're on timeout, bro. Time out.
Let's continue.
One of his next posts was this screenshot of him apparently proposing to his ex again, and then there was a series of posts about how they were working on their marriage and trying to make everything right again. All of these have now been deleted. So about 1 year later, he announces to the world through an article in a magazine called The Christian Post.
I have to stop and see that. Do you see how like they're sleeping, but he's still?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm with my baby right
like
now.
you have to like y'all. Because again, everything has to be online. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just had to.
That he's going to be getting divorced again. He also tries to kind of push off the fact that he's also leaving the army just coincidentally. We will get back to that together because it's all related. So in this article, he tries multiple ways to justify his divorce, the first being abuse of Amos 3:3. How could two walk together unless they agree? Now, that is not applied to marriage. That is not how this works. Never ever in my life, and nowhere can I find any reputable minister that will use this verse, maybe even a disreputable one, that will use this verse to justify divorce, but that's Marcus for you. So this last line here is where he says, our marriage was not founded on a foundation of God, so therefore it's really just not valid in his sight. Again, a very unique take on how to justify a divorce biblically. There is absolutely no Bible verse that says anything near this at all. And it just gets worse and worse. There's 3 pages to this article. This would be the second page. And here he says that his marriage was never meant to be, and that he prayed about it and sought biblical counsel, but in the end, he had to go with what God showed him. Clearly, that's what he meant when he said that he let God make the decision for him. And on this third page, he says basically that this ministry is more important than any marriage. I'm putting it above, I'm putting my ministry, which God gave me, above everything else in my life. So therefore, you just can't question what God has called me to do. And really, that's all I have to say about it.
Jeez. He
kind of gives this point blank reason that they just simply don't agree which principles in the Bible to follow.
Marcus. Yo. You big enough and bad enough. Don't try to cower your way out. Now I'm seeing the Daystar connection. You see how he's finding loopholes in ways to get out of his marriage? But you didn't need the Amos loophole, because according to what the article is for you being, I'm jumping ahead, but it is alleged that there was abuse in your marriage relationship, my brother.
Yeah. That's
grounds for divorce. Physical abuse. A year later, now you want to get a divorce a year later. Come on, bro. Come on. Let's continue.
I
go ahead.
A few things.
Yes.
Yes, a lot of things are making a lot of sense based off of what we're seeing here. Here's the thing. Like, I have a soft spot for troubled guys. I really do. Like, I'm kind of, that may be my emphasis in ministry, because I could feel the issues, right? Again, going back to bro, he had a troubled passed. He probably didn't get the affirmation that he needed. Obviously, he didn't have a father in the house. And he had to figure a lot of things out on his own. He had to figure marriage out on his own. Again, going back to that need for affirmation. It's obvious. It's obvious based off of the amount of attention he looks for online. That is where he gets that endorphin. That is where he gets everything that he's seeking after in life that he did not get as a child. Then he gets married and realizes that the same love he's going to get online is not going to be the same in marriage. Marriage is work. We both know that. In fact, I saw when he first got married, that was actually when I got married, the same exact time. I was like, dang. So, yeah, I know we know that marriage is work. It's hard work. And it requires commitment, even when you don't feel like it, even when they're not praising you the way that you want them to, even when nothing is going the way you want it to go. Sometimes you got to commit beyond how you feel. And I'm not, but the abuse part, that's a different story. You need to get some serious help before you get married again in that regard.
And then to blame it and say that God.
Yes. You're using God as a cop-out. You're using God, and now God is basically your crutch. Anytime you're in trouble, you blame God, or you get God involved in it in some way, shape, or form. And that's the problem. And it seems like even to this very day, he does not know how to take accountability for anything that he does. He does not know how to say, you know what, I need to stop. And he will not get rid of his ministry. That is who he's really in an affair with. Every other woman, it seems like it's a side chick. His ministry, that's his mistress. That's who he's really with. That's who he's married to, because that is the thing that gives him what he's really after. And that's the part these people have to understand. Like, dude, if in order for him to really get his act together, he needs a serious break.
To say God doesn't honor or recognize this marriage. You mean the one that you are in with this person for the second time? You didn't know that you didn't agree after the first time?
And then you're going to use Amos, bruh? That is the worst. That is the worst exegesis I've ever heard in my life.
Lest they agree. Bro, come on, bro. What is it part of your marriage vows? Agreeing, I do. Is it part of your marriage vows committing to each other to move forward together? Come on, man. I cannot.
And it sounds super judgmental. Like I know when two people are trying to build something together, it's hard when you're not getting the immediate result that you're looking for from the other person. And then you simply want to blame or do whatever on that person. And then you want to find some reason to get out of it. Bro, it's very cowardly, and it's giving off a lot of sus situations. But let's continue.
So show me in the Bible where that is grounds for divorce. Okay, so in this article, Mark attempted to kill two birds with one stone and talk about his army separation as well. And he kind of just pawned that off as a disagreement with the army. But actually it has a lot to do with his marriage and nothing to do with God telling him anything. After a lot of people gave him grief about the bogus claim that he was just separating voluntarily from the army, because generally there's absolutely no circumstances in which the army allows you to just kind of back out because you have religious issues and blah, blah, blah. He posted this as his discharge papers. I don't know why. He tried to redact the truth, but honestly, he forgot to redact this part about where it says 1412C, which is a huge violation of the U.S. military code. It's basically the equivalent of a felony. So no, it had nothing to do with a voluntary or even slightly voluntary disagreement. It was a full-on court-martial. So what was he court-martialed for? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here he is, in his own words. This is a video that his wife gave us permission to share, ex-wife, I should say, and it is him describing to her the final notice of his discharge.
So I just want to show you this. This is the two charges, right? And you see it says did not, right? Did not is for the water, and did is the thing with you and me. So they found me not guilty for the Ali thing, and then guilty for the thing with you and me. I just got the paperwork back today, so I should be out within 10 days from Monday.
So, just a quick note that the thing with Ali referred to a drowning incident where he was baptizing a soldier and he drowned. He got in a lot of trouble for that because he did a lot of things against military code while he did that. But anyway, the thing with me is that he abused his wife, beat her severely, and again, we have permission to share some text messages he sent us about that. So in this screenshot, she's telling us that Marcus was begging the army to let him out. He needed to get out because God told him to. Okay, so what then, Marcus? The only way out was to beat your wife so they would kick you out? Because that's the way it went down. So here we asked if she had reported that abuse, and she said yes, she did. They sent her to a shelter, basically.
Oh my gosh. Bro. It gets worse and worse. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. It gets crazy. Bro. Drown someone during a baptism?
Hey, they didn't get no more chance to sin afterwards, at least. I'm just kidding.
That's terrible.
I think they all saw it was an act. I don't know what exactly happened. I'm assuming it was an accident. I don't think he meant to drown homeboy.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't mean to do it, but
yeah.
Where's the common sense? If it's a high current river, we're not baptizing there. I'm sure there's a pool. I'm sure there's a bathtub.
No, it was in the Middle East. I don't think they had a pool.
They're on.
They had but they could have gotten a bathtub.
They could have gotten a bathtub. They could have gotten a trough. Come on.
Full immersion.
And then you are
dishonorable.
Physically, it's general discharge under honorable conditions. But brother, it's really hard to get a dishonorable discharge. You got to be terrible, basically, to get a dishonorable discharge from the military, because it's such a red letter. It's such a scarlet letter. But to physically, not just something really quick happened. You reacted and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, but you abused severely.
That's wild.
Come on, bro. Disgusting.
Okay. So this is. I think it's important that we make these a few distinctions when talking about when we see a minister or somebody fall into a sin or something like this in the public sphere. We talked about another guy, Prophet Lovi, right? And we discuss his incident and whatever. It's important that we distinguish between illegal sins and legal sins. There is if folks gonna sin, at least we need to categorize them. Like, some stuff is illegal, my man. Like, beating your wife is illegal. You will go to jail. You are not allowed to do that. Like, there's no God involved in that. That's simply, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
My friend. If you steal, if you do anything along those lines, bro, you're gonna go to jail. Like, that is jail.
And then you go to Amos and said, that's why we're not supposed to be together.
Bro, first of all, I'm shocked he didn't go to jail for that. Like, that's the first thing I'm thinking. Like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, but he he definitely had a rough time because the military doesn't take that lightly anymore.
I mean, bro, and
all this before 30.
oh, this before I know I'm reading this. I'm like, oh my gosh, he just turned 30. Oh my goodness.
Let's continue.
Okay, so just a final bit of confusion that he still throws in today is he claims that he has been divorced twice. And here's a post from July of 2016 saying he has been divorced twice. This is even before his divorce was actually filed his third one in December of 2017. So therefore, he's been divorced 3 times. And that would have meant that he must have been divorced from the firm earlier to make a second divorce. The first divorce clearly met his first wife, and then he must have divorced Laverne and then remarried her in order to wind up getting a third divorce. You know, he's done this several times, and I can only find records of the 2 divorces, but here he said there were 2 as of July 2016. So was he single or not when he had reconciled with Laverne? Well, you can make your own judgment, I guess. So whether it's the second or the third, this was the most recent divorce. It was initiated in September of 2017 and was final by December. So I hear a lot, well, it's all in his past. Why don't you just let it go? It's not fair to do this. But as recently as 2 years ago, he did an interview with Ruslan. It was a big, long argument about just about everything. But in there, he lied so much that I did a whole video on it and pulled it apart and found literally dozens of lies and identified them one by one. One of them being that he's only been divorced twice, never during his ministry years. You can find that about the 49 mark in this video. There'll be a link in the description. There are more receipts on my website, more information about the marriages he's had before and after. There's even more kind of confusing details before, during, and after. These are kind of like the key facts. It's confusing and hard enough to follow as it is, so I just kind of left it with this info. But if you need more information, there is more on our website. So please find the link in the description, and you can check it out to your heart's content. Also, Seiko Woods has done many, many great videos about Marcus and all the ways he has lied and tried to scam people. I'd definitely check those out too. I'll give you a link to this one in the description. Marcus has done a lot of God showed me, God told me stuff over the years, and a lot of it's just proven to be false or empty. And if you ask me, this is one of the very worst. It's always horrible. It's always worthy of God's wrath when you take his name in vain like that and say God told you to do something. But in this case, he's trying to use God told me to get out of the army, and God told me to divorce my wife because he beat her and she left him. And he's trying to use that as a cover. And wow, if you thought some of those other shenanigans were bad, this takes the cake, in my opinion. Small clip here from Stephen Kozar at the Messed Up Church. I'll put a link to a description to his video, which he did recently after all this exploded, talking about the egregious way that Marcus Rogers uses God's name in vain is very dishonoring to God. I would definitely check this out too.
And you know what God told me? God told me to say in this video, that's what God told me. Anything that I've said that God has shown me, it's come true.
Yeah, okay, Marcus, whatever you say. I pray you repent before it's too late, or the wrath against you is going to be unbelievable. Please repent. Okay, well, that's going to be a wrap for now. Thank you so much for watching, for all your support. Please like and subscribe, and visit our website if you want or need any more information. And feel free to reach out and contact me, too, through the website.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro. Marcus, my brother, you should operate more in grace.
And that's a part, bro, like, how is somebody with this background, you're now the person that needs to tell anybody else what they're supposed to do with
what thus saith the Lord?
How do you have all of this background? And I noticed even in that 30-year post that he made, he talks about himself a lot. The devil has been after me. I've been on the God's been trying to use me, but the devil just keeps on coming into my trying to block me, trying to keep me down, trying to stop me. It's like it's giving borderline. You mentioned cult, like it's given a lot of narcissism, bro. Like you only are able to, like you only can see, you only think about yourself. You have zero like level of empathy for any other human being that you're around, unless you can benefit from it.
Oh yeah.
Unless you can find some way of showing, unless you can find, and I think that's what happened with Susie and Jonathan. He was like, "Ooh, I can look good in front of everybody. And he even mentioned it. He's like, see, that one time I did that interview, now I'm the good guy on YouTube and everyone's loving me. But as soon as I interview their mom, now everybody's coming for me again. I don't understand. I did the right thing. And now y'all mad. It's like, bro is so like caught. He is so consumed with himself that, to be honest, if you're a part of his ministry,
run. In my opinion.
And I'm not the one. We don't do, like, I'm not a basher.
I'm
like,
not that guy.
We all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Ain't nobody out here perfect, fam. Like, we all have our discretions. We all have things that we struggle with. All of that. But like, to be in that type of thing, like where nobody can really talk to you unless they say what you want. Like, some people, like, they'll choose the people who talk to them just so that way they, not for accountability, but for what do you call it? To reaffirm confirmation bias. You're just here for confirmation bias. You are not here to tell me what to do, because if you try to tell me something that I don't want to do, then you're being used by the devil. And I just had to do what God wanted to do, not what man wants me to do. But if you do tell me what I want to do, God must be speaking to you, bro.
That's why you gotta take that out of your vocabulary. That God told me to do X, Y, and Z. And just say, hey, I feel like this is where I need to do. This is what I need to do. But don't.
And he's constantly on the defensive. Like, everything is an attack from the enemy. Like, bro, you need to battle with your own self. Yeah. You are your biggest enemy.
Bro, when I don't know. Maybe I'm not saved enough. But when I got married, God didn't come to me and tell me, hey, Leo, this is your wife.
You found a wife.
Yeah.
And
I made the decision. And
relationships have their goods and their bads, their ups and their downs.
Yeah.
Their lefts and their rights. And you have to, and you got to be willing to commit, not only when it benefits you, especially if you have kids.
It's tough, bro. But hey, you feeding your family through this YouTube thing. And
I even heard not too long ago he went to he got arrested for allegedly abusing one of his kids. And now, at first when I heard it, I was like, oh, maybe, oversensitivity, somebody try to throw him under the bus. I don't know.
Either way, to say what he said about Jonathan not covering for his family and
the way he came at him, bro, that was so messed up.
Check out our other video for our whole recap on that, bro. It's frankly disgusting,
bro.
Marcus, get in your prayer closet and don't tell us that you went in there. Don't tell us what thus saith the Lord.
Honestly,
just walk with him.
For somebody like Marcus, I'm gonna tell you the truth, and this is my honest opinion. And I think there needs to be his life needs a serious crash. I think everything that he's doing needs it. For somebody like him, who doesn't seem to get it.
No, I don't think a crash is gonna fix it, bro.
What do you think would?
I don't think a crash is gonna fix it, because then that'll just prove that the enemy was after him. That'll reaffirm his narrative that the enemy is after him.
But what happens to fix somebody like Marcus, in your opinion?
He's got to have a real legitimate encounter with God. Not the God not the God that he created in his head.
That's the thing, man. Social media. This is the dark side of social media, because for a guy like him, because he he basically bypassed all protocol and everything that a ministry would put him under in order for him to be able to minister. He just became popular online before anybody else did.
Yeah.
So he's like a pioneer. And the thing about it with that is, if he cracks, all he has to do is turn his camera on, and boom, he's back.
Bro,
and
you seen how many weak apologies were thrown that way?
Mm-hmm. You can start if you become disgraced out of ministry, you can come back. If you were popular and you had a decent following, you were a good communicator, it don't take much to get to come right back.
And it should be good path of grace to come back. But these guys sometimes they abuse it, they misuse it, and for that we have to say, Marcus, shut up.
That's all.
And don't run into Jonathan, because he might put them paws on you. Because I would. You disrespect me and how I lead and protect my family. You put that out there, it's on site. On site, my brother.
I don't know. Jonathan don't give off the fighting vibe, but he might be he might really cherish the Second Amendment.
Ooh-wee. Man. So tell us what you think. Like, subscribe, get in the comments. Let's have this discussion, man. I was not familiar with this, brother, like most of this internet world, but man, am I finding out that somebody is throwing rocks in a glass house.
I mean, weak glass, like
movie glass, like the sugar glass that breaks.
You just tap that thing. All right, peoples. We'll talk to you.
Peace.